How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel for a brand new Star Wars gaming video. And in today's video, we're going to be doing something that we have not done for a while now, given the chaotic last couple of months for Star Wars games. And that is to just sit down and have a chat and just a pure discussion video talking about the future of Star Wars games. This is something that I like to do every few months as things change and things evolve. Now, the last time I'd done this was when Battlefront 2's live service was cancelled, so naturally things weren't looking great at that point, but in the past, I'd say month alone, and specifically in the past 2 weeks, things have taken a pretty dramatic turn for the better for Star Wars games, with EA CEO Andrew Wilson coming out and saying that EA will be doubling down on the Star Wars license. So it's fair to expect something exciting out of that. Now, we will touch on all of that throughout this video. We're going to speculate a little bit on what we could potentially see, and I'm just going to give you guys my overall thoughts on the entire situation with Star Wars games. But of course, just before we dive into all of that, we are so close to 100,000 subscribers. We honestly might have actually hit it by the time this video goes live, I don't know. But if you haven't already subscribed, then it would be great if you could do so to help us hit that milestone. Now, I will actually be doing a live stream event for hitting 100,000 subscribers, and yes, there's going to be a face reveal for those that keep asking. So yeah, make sure you keep an eye out for that over the next few days. It's going to be a ton of fun. But now, let's just dive into the discussion. Now, if you had have posed the question to me 2 months ago on how I felt about the future of Star Wars games, it wasn't exactly great. Sure, we knew we were getting some kind of flight simulator game and a Fallen Order sequel, but that was only 2 games over the next few years, with only one of them being a full price game. And of course the other being a smaller project, and then Battlefront 2 just on the sidelines with no ongoing support. So yeah, obviously not ideal. But given the past few weeks, I think the overall perception of where Star Wars games are headed is much more positive now, with the future of Star Wars games actually looking pretty bright, to say the very least, with what could possibly be many new games coming over the next few years. Now, if EA are to double down on the Star Wars license like their CEO Andrew Wilson mentioned, then it's fair to expect much more than just Squadrons and a Fallen Order sequel in the coming years. Now, I think this is the time, or at least in the near future, to try and deliver at least one other AAA Star Wars game to go alongside Fallen Order's sequel. So whether that could be an open world Star Wars game, which seems to be just about as popular as another Battlefront installment, or they really do cash in on what will probably be their biggest cash cow under the Star Wars brand, and that would be a Battlefront 3. Bringing back DICE to work on the franchise that they are extremely passionate about for next-gen consoles, and of course, it would get all of the Battlefront players who are obviously stupidly passionate about the Battlefront franchise back for that next installment. The fact that there are so many Battlefront fans and players after the hiccups over the past few years is just a testament to the loyalty of the Battlefront section of the Star Wars gaming fanbase. It is just second to none. Like, I've been involved in the Battlefront community heavily for about 4 years now, and it's honestly unlike any other gaming community, so I just know for a straight fact that a Battlefront 3 would be the biggest Star Wars game that could possibly be made. Now, a question that I get constantly is whether or not I think that EA will approve for live service to be reinstated to Battlefront 2. Now, do I think this will happen due to the massive surge of new players? Honestly, no, I don't. Like, don't get me wrong, I would love for Battlefront 2 to receive support again, as that can truly keep developing into just the ultimate Battlefront. Bringing the developers back after they finish up on Battlefield 6 would be great, so they can truly fulfill their vision for what Battlefront 2 could have been, because, I mean, they wanted to bring the likes of Ahsoka to the game, and probably even maps like Coruscant as well. But unfortunately, I just don't see that happening, as cool as it would be. But to be honest, if Battlefront 2's sacrifice was in the name of a potential Battlefront 3 going into development, then it would sit perfectly fine with me. And you have to keep in mind next-gen consoles at the end of this year, and just how that's going to reshape gaming and what games we will see. Maybe instead of bringing Battlefront 2 over to new consoles, EA have envisioned a new Battlefront installment purely for next-gen that we just don't know about yet. Obviously, this isn't something that we would see in the next year or even
the next year after that. So like I said, obviously we wouldn't know anything about it, but I think it's definitely something worth having just a think about as a possibility. I honestly would love to see a new Battlefront installment on those next-gen consoles to really propel Star Wars games forward into the next generation of gaming. Like imagine a new Star Wars game like a Battlefront 3 on next-gen consoles with updated graphics and capabilities. You know, just making stuff like space-to-ground combat an actual reality with modern graphics due to the power of the consoles. Like, the sky would be the limit with what they could do. Actually, now that I say that, space would probably be the limit to what they could do. Personally, my ideal Star Wars game for next-gen consoles, apart from a Battlefront 3, would be an open-world Star Wars game set in the Clone Wars where you can play as a Jedi or a bounty hunter and just explore the galaxy. Like, if you want to go to Coruscant, you go there. If you want to go to Tatooine, you go there. And the capabilities of next-gen consoles could make massive games like that a reality. EA have the budget and the means and the studios at their disposal to make some insane Star Wars games, and with EA confirmed to be doubling down on Star Wars, then who knows what we could end up seeing. But it is really exciting nevertheless, and I can't wait to see what's in store. Now moving on, and I do see a lot of people saying that, oh, the license ends in 2023 for Star Wars under EA, so why would they make all of these games? And I have a few answers for that. One, the Star Wars license is insanely valuable and something to be adored, so EA are going to want to really make the most of it. And two, EA seem to have a great relationship with Disney, as said by Andrew Wilson himself. So maybe there would be potential talks for a contract renewal so they can plan ahead. For all we know, that's already happened. Honestly, who knows? And three, I don't think EA's CEO would come out and say what he said if EA didn't intend to keep that Star Wars license. You don't double down on something that you don't care about losing. So that naturally has me excited, as it can only mean good things. And personally, I do want EA to keep the license because that means studios like DICE, who done the impossible with Battlefront 2, and Respawn, who made one of the best Star Wars games ever with Fallen Order, could work on more Star Wars games. Specifically the franchises that they excelled with. Like, why would you not want that? I just think that Star Wars games have come too far in the past couple years for the rug to be swept out. Like, at the minute, I almost could not be happier with where Star Wars games are headed. I just wish that Battlefront 2's live service could have gone on for a little bit longer, as man, that game was becoming something special. And it kind of got left in a pretty messy state in terms of bugs. I would like to see DICE at least be able to return, not just to add content or anything like that, but just to maintain the gameplay. As there is reportedly millions and millions of new players on Battlefront 2's servers, and the gameplay is very, very buggy at the moment. Now, we've done a lot of speculating and what ifs so far in this video, but what about the games that we do know about in future? We obviously have Squadrons, which will be getting released in October. Now, I think Squadrons is a nice change of pace, to be honest. It's something different. It's not a full-priced game, so that has people not totally on board, but it looks like Motive really did pour their heart and soul into the game regardless. And I think it is shaping up to be one of, if not the most immersive Star Wars game yet, and the fact that it supports VR is of course just going to contribute to that immersion even further. There's something about being in first person inside the cockpit of an X-Wing or a TIE fighter that has me excited. Now, I know that flying is not for everyone, and a lot of players prefer to just be boots on the ground, and I'm sure EA know that. But they're making something that sort of throws back to the old X-Wing and TIE fighter games of old. There are a lot of Star Wars fans that want literally nothing more than space battles, and this game really is going to satisfy them. I mean, I'm one of them. I'm down for just about anything Star Wars related, really. So, you know, even though Squadrons isn't going to be a game for everyone, it's still an exciting game to look out for, and I think everybody should at least give it a chance. Now, as for the Jedi Fallen Order sequel, which is supposedly in early development, that game has so much potential, it's not even funny. Like, Fallen Order was incredible. Very few people didn't like it. It was extremely well received, and it made a lot of money. It told a great story, and it had some in-depth and testing gameplay, and was basically just a home run by Respawn, and it really hammered home that Star Wars games were back. So this sequel was inevitable, and there is no confirmation what this sequel is going to entail, whether it's going to be a spin-off in a Jedi franchise with other characters, or whether it's going to continue the story of Cal Kestis. I personally love Cal, and where Fallen Order finished off, it does set up for a sequel that could honestly go anywhere. Obviously, spoiler alert, and honestly, I don't know how you wouldn't have played the game by now anyway, but Cal obviously survives the game and escapes from Vader, so Vader is gonna be pissed and he's gonna be hunting Cal down. Off the top of my head, we don't really know much about Cal further down the line in canon, so I assume a sequel playing as Cal with Vader on your tail the entire game is a likely prospect. Iron out a few of the issues that the first game had, and we could have one of the best Star Wars games, if not, dare I say, the best of all time on our hands. But yeah, overall guys, I am pumped for the future of Star Wars games. It looks very bright. Like I said, I do think we need a Battlefront 3 at some stage though. Rolling out Star Wars games alongside a live service Battlefront game is, in my opinion, the perfect module. But we're just going to have to wait and see how it all plays out. But nevertheless, exciting times ahead. So guys, go ahead and let me know down in those comments what you think of all of this. What do you want to see in the next few years for Star Wars games? Let me know down in those comments. And if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, keep an eye out for that 100,000 subscribers special live stream coming very, very soon. But that's going to do it for me today. So thank you all for watching and have a good one.